We are going to be looking at a very critical matter, youth empowerment, preparing for the future and changing the narrative ahead of 2025. As the world evolves rapidly, it has become imperative to focus on empowering the youth, equipping them with the tools, resources, and opportunities to thrive in an ever-changing landscape. Now, today, we're going to dive into the strategies to prepare the youth for 2025 and beyond. And joining us to unpack this beautiful conversation is Isosa Osawaro. Is a passionate youth advocate dedicated to inspiring and driving positive change among young people. And together we are going to be exploring how education, entrepreneurship, and policy reforms can redefine the narrative and position young people as leaders and innovators of tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming, Isosa.
Thank you very much for having me.
We appreciate you. So let's quickly go. What does youth empowerment mean to you, and why is it crucial as we approach 2025?
Okay, so when on a normal day, when you hear about youth empowerment, what normally comes to mind is, giving off items or money so that they can start off something. But when it comes to me, youth empowerment is about the mind.
Okay.
Right? Because the mind makes the man. And any change that has to happen needs to start from within. And so youth empowerment, for me, simply has to do with the development of the mind of a man. And then that cannot transcend into other things.
Talking about development, your opening, you made mention of when you just talk about youth empowerment, the first thing that comes to mind is palliative, giving them things just for the now. But do you think Nigerian youth as a whole, do you think they've been doing well in terms of empowerment?
Okay, so because of the state of things, a lot of people are focusing, or a lot of the youth are focusing on what I can get in terms of material things, because they think it's just about you getting and accumulating wealth. But to answer that question, a lot of the youth has been focusing on the wrong things, which is the material things. What they should be focusing on is the mind and the development of themselves. So if they are able to become a certain kind of person, they'll be able to attract the things that they need. And so they can now then be agents of change in the society.
So in your assessment, how well are Nigerian youth prepared to face the challenges ahead of 2025?
Okay. Honestly speaking, I think majority are not prepared. Yes. And the actions of an average Nigerian tells it. Because an average Nigerian is focused, or an average youth is focused on what it's in it for me now. And in order to be able to effectively approach 2025, you have to engage what we call future thinking. So what do I need to do now or sacrifice now to be able to get something better in the coming days? And see, now it's December, and a lot of persons are focusing on, how we can get Christmas chicken and all of that. But they're not thinking, how can I save so that in February, when everybody's complaining things are hard and they're selling things, I can leverage on that and get
something to fall back on.
Exactly. So they are not very prepared, majority of them.
Still talking about preparation, Isosa, to an extent it seems youth from this part of the world, they've not really accepted tech world. Technology has been like the oil well as far as revenue generation is concerned, tech and ICT. But it seems here we are yet to leverage on that. On the positive side, we only leverage on the negative aspect. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So how do we strike a balance and start harmonizing our youth and getting them on board to appreciate tech and, of course, ICT?
Okay, so what I would say is embrace big thinking. So the fact that you are, for example, in Benin City does not mean that you should be limited to the things happening in Benin City. I guess it's called third world for a reason, right? Because we always seem to be playing catch up with the rest of the world. But if we need to get to that state where we effectively leverage tech, ICT, AI, then we need to go beyond where we are.
Okay.
Yet, we are currently here in Benin City, but thanks to the internet, we can be connected to the rest of the world. We can be learning the same course with someone in Benji, or someone in Texas, US, or someone in Istanbul, Turkey, right? Thanks to technology. So go beyond what is happening in this part of the world and think globally. So that way you'll be able to get yourself in the same environment with people who are doing spectacular things, and then bring back that change to Nigeria.
Talking about change now, let's look at education and skill development.
Okay.
How can our educational system be restructured to focus on practical skills and innovation rather than traditional theoretical approach?
Okay, so this will take me back again to mindset. Because it is very important. There is the fixed mindset, and then there's a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is always the traditional person. Oh, this is how it has always been done, without thinking how can it be better, without thinking that, oh, there's always room for improvement. And so we must celebrate our past wins and where it has taken us to. But beyond that, we must have to think, what can we do now that will take us closer to the future that we desire?
Okay.
And it starts from the curriculum of education in this part of the world. During my secondary school days, so something happened. Because I was, researching wide, and they gave us a question in our exams, and they were like, list type of currency. By that time, cryptocurrency was not a thing in this part of the world. And I listed, cowries, coin, all of those things. And then I wrote cryptocurrency. The teacher failed it for me.
The teacher felt you didn't know what you were talking about.
Exactly, right? So we must stop the tradition of always using what has been and look forward to what could be and what is currently. You see, for example, in the secondary school, they are using a textbook that was what's the word? Like the copyright was last written in
Outdated.
10 years
That's
ago,
not very vast.
and it was outdated rather. So you can't expect that kind of person to be able to perform globally at a well-competitive level. So it goes back to the curriculum. Adjust it, improve on it, and keep it updated as often as possible.
Okay, now you are someone that have always clamor for youth empowerment. You've always had opportunities to meet with the young people like you and see how to encourage them to move on. Let's look at the role of entrepreneurship. How does it play? Does it play any role in empowering the youth entrepreneurship to start with?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Governments cannot employ everybody. No matter how much we desire that the government change everything, but history has shown it that the governments are not always the key force in creating the kind of change that is needed.
Okay.
Innovations and entrepreneurship are always relevant. Take, for example, China and what they are doing. Young people at the age of 16, 17, 18, they are doing massively in terms of tech creation and all of that. So we must learn to leverage and grow as an entrepreneur in this part of the world, not just for employment reasons so we can employ other people, but so that we can create solution blueprints that the world can come to us for, thereby increasing the revenue of this country, not just as an individual.
Now, the year is gradually coming to an end. 2025 is staring at us in a few weeks' time. We'll be diving for a few days' time.
Yes.
We'll be diving into 2025. You're having a meeting with the young folks. What do you plan to achieve, and how will this impact their lives in the coming year?
Okay, so I've had this for quite a while now. This is the third edition, and it's called Hangouts with Aisha Sawaro. And for this edition, what we intend to achieve is to design the next decade with 2025 in focus. We desire big things in the future, but we rarely ever plan in that level. In 10 years from now, if you are 25, you'll be 35. If you are 28, you'll be 38. Have you ever thought about it? What person do I want to become? Who do I want to be? So it is important that we take note and intentionally create that future that we want. And for this edition, what I intend to achieve is in 3 areas. First, give them the insights needed to design the next decade, planning 2025 well. And secondly, get them to network with high-level people in the city and outside Benin, as it were, right? Because opportunities and value flow through people, not through things. And so you
opportunities and value flow through people.
Yes. So you need people to be able to grow in life. You need people to be able to achieve certain things. So it is important that you are positioned in the right environment and you build relevant relationships. People that can open doors in rooms that you don't even know exist. So it is very important. And then third is community building, because to scale at a level, you need community. And so having that community of like minds, people who are willing to support you and give you the relevant information you need to accelerate to your next level, very important. So that's what we intend to achieve.
Okay, let's quickly look at some of the challenges now. What are the major challenges facing young people in Nigeria today, and how can these obstacles, how can they overcome it?
Okay, challenges is like ShopRite, there are a lot, right? But from my standpoint, what I've seen is what's the word? Should I say symphony in quotes of, oh, you're young, what do you know? So you must follow how it has been done. So there's always this ability of the elderly ones to underestimate the potential of a young person. Knowing that, or knowing fully well that technology has made the young people gain a major advantage in any form of innovation. So it is important as young people to learn to leverage that. And then don't underestimate yourself even when people see you, right, that way. Sometimes we get to, self-deflect. We don't want to do certain things because we feel like people would not accept us. But beyond that, we should show up regardless. And another challenge that has affected the young people, or that is affecting the young people here in this part of the world, is entitlement mentality.
Entitlement mentality.
Yes. So we feel like, oh, the government should give me this. Oh, my parents should give me this. Nobody owes you anything. And so you must learn to know that if it's going to be for you, it's up to you. And so it's up to you to create the life that you desire. And don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, my uncle said he would do this for me, so I have to rely on that person to help me with my school or my business or whatsoever. And then the last challenge for young people that I would say is a self-challenge.
Okay.
Which is not being determined enough. So it is very possible that you can desire something, but you're not determined to get that thing. So for example, you can want to say, oh, I want to build a 7-figure business. And right now, you're not even willing to go for a training that will teach you how to go about it. So you have a desire, but you're not determined. That's a challenge already. So it's a self-imposing challenge.
So desire without determination, it's zero results. Now, as a leader, you are a leader. Let's quickly wrap it up from here. How can young people be encouraged to take up leadership roles and participate actively in decision-making processes, especially in the country?
Encouragement. Okay, I think it will be the fact that look out there, all over the world, the people who are causing waves, a lot of them are young people. Take, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, young, doing incredible stuff. And so you have to put yourself in that level of exposure where you see that other people are doing this thing, so it's also possible for me, regardless of your location. So having that mindset that it's possible is really, really, really relevant.
I'm going to take that as your final take on the program. Having that mindset that is possible, very, very relevant. We wish you all the best in your engagement today at OT Hotel.
Yes.
And of course, I'm sure it's going to be a fruitful one. And we hope to have you again on the program so that we can have more time to extend more front lines.
That will be a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Isosa. Well, we've been discussing with Isosa Osaru. He's a youth advocate. And of course, he's been speaking with us on the need to empower the youth ahead of 2025.